You're not autistic. You're not. You're just weird. You're just weird. And it's very important to me that you know that you're not autistic and you're just weird, because you can be weird without being autistic. And because you also probably lack critical thinking skills, I'm going to explain to you what I mean. Before I get too further into this, yes, I do understand that autism is a spectrum. And sure, you, me, and maybe even our neighbor Steven might fall on this spectrum. But you having special interests, you being a nerd, and you knowing like every word to the Lord of the Rings trilogy by heart does not make you autistic. It just makes you fucking weird. People need to stop associating their weirdness with autism, because then it associates autism with weirdness and is going to lead to a lot of issues. A lot. Autism is already pretty stigmatized, but associating your weirdness to it more and more is going to stigmatize it even worse. There is a reason it goes so undiagnosed, not only because we don't know enough about it, not only because we don't do enough research on it, but because people are terrified of being diagnosed with it because they're afraid they're going to be called fucking weird. And it's because a lot of you weird, nerdy bitches think that you're autistic when you're just fucking weird. Like, you play Dungeons and Dragons, you're not autistic.
Well, more or less so, you are correct. But it was just that the difference with him, right, is because Lord Byron during his time was more like a private citizen, in which case he was rich during his lifetime. Thereby, he was able to have some leeway to travel around the world, see new places, experience new things, in which case he was able to utilize that more a lot with his writing, specifically with his poems. Dude was a brilliant writer, but I'm not saying that he was all great and not, all great and grand, because he was a little nutty. And when I mean by nutty, he was kind of fixated more with his, I think it was his sister or niece. I don't know. Cannot I cannot agree to that. I find that very weird, but it was the standards of his time in the early 19th century. And like I said in another video, the dude did die young because he ventured out in Greece during the time in which Greece was obtaining their independence from the Ottomans, in which he died during a specific battle in the late 1820s during the British intervention of during the Greek War of Independence. And to add a last tidbit for this video, here's another interesting fact. He was a politician as well. Not elected, but in the UK equivalence of to how things are here in the States, he was a member of the British Parliament, specifically with the House of Lords. It's pretty much like a seat within the parliamentary system within Britain, but it's a life tenure. It's pretty much like a title that you pretty much don't do anything at all. It's like a life tenure thing. It's pretty much like how royalties. It's pretty much how the 1% operate one with one another back then, specifically, especially now. That's pretty much true to an extent of it, in which case most of those individuals were comprised of being in battalions. For example, the Oscar de la Wenger battalion regiment that the Germans had during the war, in which case all of them, although they were soldiers in the German army at the time, but in actuality, the reason why, they were mandatory to join the army was because they were criminals themselves. So in earnest with this, that's what you just said, dude. You're pretty much correct on that. But all in all, there's a lot of moving nuance and more interconnecting parts with it, in which case regular people would do a lot of depraved shit just a way to appease a certain individual on the basis of whatever said ideology that they adhere or espouse or like from said individual. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that yeah, there were a lot of fucking crazy people on the German side during the war that made a lot of things more self-known and self-ambivalent, to say the least. In which case, a lot of depraved shit came out during and after the war with regards to the Holocaust, and a lot of depraved shit that certain officers and individuals did whilst during the war. With regards with that, or any reprisals in terms of mass unalivings in that regard. But yeah, there was a lot of moving parts with it.
If you have high levels of discernment, if you have critical thinking skills, if you're not
Now, this video, I agree, merely because I've been having this problem for years. And it's like, it's with that, but all in all, I can say it's like people lack any proper nuance in terms of communicating with me properly these days. And sometimes they always want to jump the gun and always want to interject with that of whatever they're saying that comes out of their mouths that I have to adhere or agree to. But no, it doesn't work like that. If I have a different opinion than you, if I don't like it, I will tell you, but that doesn't automatically make me right away. I have to agree everything that you expound upon whilst conversing with me. You know, we could have differences of opinions, but the only opinions, should I say, that I would not tolerate, right, is hateful ones. You know, albeit racist, bigotry, homophobia, Islamophobia, the rest. You know, if you have opinions like that, fuck off. I don't give a shit. Those opinions don't fucking matter to me. And we're not having a discussion or a proper fucking debate about that. If you're a hateful piece of shit and you believe those things, fuck off. But yeah, this is the whole point of what I'm trying to get at. And I've been dealing with this problem for years. But it's alright.